Welcome to this week's Q&A. We've got a question today from a number of people actually around the world, Aussie expats, that have been asking us similar things in relation to obtaining loans whilst they're working overseas as Australian expats and some of the process that's involved with that. So what we've had is some people sending in very lengthy, if you like, laborious questions that are looking or seeking to clarify minutiae, points of small detail, or perhaps certain things that can't really be determined until you first recognise that you may or may not be able to obtain a loan. So depending on your own personal situation, now whether that's in relation to country of residence or citizenship or jurisdiction or income or expenses, first of all we have to recognise that we have to apply for a loan and the bank has to say, yes, you're going to be able to get that loan. We're going to lend you that money for your proposed property purchase. So that's a really important thing to recognise before we go into the intricacies of, you know, what the interest rate is going to be, what the specific features of the loan are going to look like, etc., etc. So it's really important to be able to recognise that you can't put the cart before the horse, as it were. You've got to look at this in a process-driven manner and go through steps one by one. People then ask questions in relation to, you know, what's the proposed ownership going to look like? What are the long-term consequences of this? What about if I then move back to Australia? What are the taxation implications? You know, what are the asset protection scenarios going to look like? So way too many questions before you actually even do anything. You've physically got to go along and get the process started, perhaps get an approval in principle from the bank, so that then you only have to concern yourself with the valuation at time of purchase, and obviously recognising that your financial situation has to remain the same for that approval in principle to remain valid. So lots of things there where people just get ahead of themselves, and I think it's really important to recognise that you've got to, you know, this is a little bit different than just going online if you're living in Australia as an Australian resident and using a bank's calculator to work out how much you can borrow. It's not like that at all, and I suppose that's where we come in to try and assist people with obtaining the best outcomes, clearly, but also recognising that they may need to get the help of experts in other areas, so lawyers, accountants, people that specialise in different things, so ownership structures, tax implications, etc. Now look, if you found this interesting or this relates to you or is helpful for you, then please reach out, email us or call and we'll have someone contact you. And otherwise, if you like what you're hearing, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click like. I'm Andrew Unterweger and I'll see you at next week's Q&A.